here. Let's do another watch video. The last one was fun. Don't know if you've ever heard of Enicar watches. Enicar was an old Swiss manufacturer of watches, and just one of my favorites. Every once in a while you run into a company and they just seem to hit the right note with everything they make. And Enicar watches is like that for me. As a old guy that I used to know, a knife maker from Florida, Jack Belk is his name. He used to go, "You're trying to whoop a craving on me." Always thought that was funny. But anyway, Enicar has been whooping a craving on me for quite a while now. I'm going to go over the history of the company a little bit, and then I will end up with reviews of two different watches that I currently have in my collection. And oh yeah, don't forget to check below all of the sites and stuff, all the references that I cite and visit on this video will be, there will be links down in the description. Right there, I bet. Yeah, maybe there. So, a little history about the Enicar company. It was started by Arist Racine and his wife, Emma Blatt, I think it was. The Racines, though, their family were watch and clock artisans since the 16th century, so they have a very long history of their family building clocks and watches. So when they were going to start their new brand in 1918, they would have used Racine. However, it was already taken by one of their cousins or something. And so there are Racine watches out there. Well, so they decided, well, we'll just spell it backwards. So Enicar is Racine spelled backwards. It's symmetrical. That pleases me. Enicar was a premium brand competing with Rolex and IWC and that ilk, that level of watches. They made some very, very good watches. They had a bunch of in-house movements, and they also used other movements like the legendary Valjoux 72 and a 23 and a 92. The best of movements, really. Enicar, like everybody else in Switzerland, was really hit by the quartz crisis in the 70s. So they actually put out some quartz watches with the Beta 21 quartz movement that I think was a Swiss movement. Alas, 1988, quartz got the best of them, and they ended up closing their doors. They sold a lot of their assets, I don't know how much, to Chrono Swiss brand. And the Chrono Swiss watches are based on the Enicar 165 movement. Just a little trivia there. I'll put a link to Chrono Swiss in the description downstairs there. It's they look like great watches. I need to buy one. One of the interesting things I learned from Valjoux, there was a guy, Crazy Fist, was his handle, and he's from China, and he was talking about how Enicar was huge in China. It was one of the premier, brands. I mean, it was their Rolex. It's what they would buy. And he has a kind of a quote here, or I'll quote him. He said that in China there at that time, and I'm assuming this is the 50s or something, 50s, 60s, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it says there was 3 items to own to make a man eligible for marriage: a bicycle, a sewing machine, and a watch. And so Enicar was one of the very bests that you could get there, along with Titoni and Romer. you know, other really cool brands that are fun to look at. You should look at some of the old ones. They're interesting. I don't know if they're still in business or not. Guess I should check that. Enicar had several lines. In 1955 they came out with the Seapearl, and in 56 they did the Sherpa line, and in 57 they did the Ocean Pearl. And these were all kind of linked with interesting things, like the Sherpa one was with people going to Mount Everest and actually wearing Enicar watches. And the Ocean Pearl was, I don't remember, something about strapping a watch to the keel of a boat and then, you know, going across the ocean with it. And it's still working when they got it off at the end of the voyage. They were very clever marketers, actually. And that's part of what I like about them, is they just have that style. Their logo is way awesome. It's that Saturn logo. It's just cool. Cool. Let's peruse some vintage Enicar watches so you can see how beautiful some of them are. These are all on Watch You Seek forum, the joy of collecting vintage Enicar watches. And oh, that Diver 600, Sherpa Diver 600, awesome. The beautiful blue strap goes perfect with it. And there's some super divers. I don't know about this gold thing. And that's Sherpa Divette. Gorgeous orange. And there's a trio. Those are all Valjoux 72s. And ooh, a Sherpa Jet with the nice GMT dial on there. That GMT hand is awesome. And that one is, what is that? What is that? Ah, yes, the Super Dive. This one's 43 millimeters, and it is just exciting. I love the colors on that. That's a nice collection. Divers. So what is this beautiful thing? Oh, that's a Super Dive. That's also gorgeous. And I can't get over the orange. And where did that strap come from? That is an amazing strap. Oh, yeah. And oh, a Sherpa guide, and with the world time and GMT. I love the world time ring around there. They usually beat to crap, but that one was, of course, beautiful. Oh, there's a nice vintage, little vintage patina there on a Seapearl. Oh, and a Sherpa Graph, another Valjoux 72. That is an incredible watch, and the hands are amazing. Look at the different hands that they have in there. They're just really unusual. You don't see them on many watches. And there's that, was that beads and rice bracelet? Oh, that's nice. That's kind of 70s looking, isn't it? Oh, here we are with my Seapearl. This little beauty is 33 millimeters. It's got that wonderful patina on it. It's 10 atmospheres, 100 meters, basically water resistance. It doesn't have a screw down crown. It has it's an unsigned crown also on this one, probably replaced. It's pretty elegant, pretty sweet watch to wear. It's the case is not the best. It's you know, a chrome plated brass. But oh, check out that second hand. I love that little red end on there. That's cool. There you can see how the case has gotten eaten away over time. But this is a very old watch. It's like almost 70 years old, I think. There's the back. It's got the interesting back on it that it just turns like an eighth of a turn to you know, to lock down, and then it comes off, and it's locked with a
you know, you use a special tool there on that. Although this one isn't scalloped like a lot of them, where this one you can actually just use a big wrench, but the other ones have a scallop back end. It's really cool. I love the way the light catches the indicators on this, the numbers and stuff, and that sort of scalloped engraving around the edges. So let's look at the new watch and do a review on that. This guy, I don't know what model he is, but he has that kind of nice starburst dial. I love the color on the number, the day number. I think that's pretty cool. This is quite a blingy watch for me. I don't normally go for gems and other stuff like that, but I just had to have this. I don't know why. It's got a pretty elegant watch. It's 36 millimeters and a screw down crown. It has, you know, the stick hands are just kind of normal, but it's just a very nice piece to wear as a dress watch, even though it's a little bit showy. You can see there on the side that it's a lot like an Oyster Perpetual, you know, date just. You know, that same kind of case. It's obviously a homage of the Oyster Perpetual date just. Or day date. The band on here is extremely nice. It's very scratch resistant. It's very solid and just feels quality. The keeper there, the catch with the sign on it, is really nice. And there you can see the signed crown with the Saturn logo on it. The movement is an ETA AR2169, which is actually an ETA 2334-2. I couldn't find the 2169 information anywhere. It has a screw down crown and 100 meters water resistance. Of course, the quick change. And I love the red Sunday. That's so cool. It's also hackable. The back of it is neat. I love a back that has engraving on it, and there it's got the Daufine jumping at the Saturn thing. I think that was the Ocean Pearl designed back, but they have it on a lot of their watches, so I don't know for sure. There's a tool that you can use, a special tool that a friend of mine made with a 3D printer to undo the back where it's got the scallops on there. It's awesome. Just no scratching. Easy to remove the back. It's great. So here you can see what the Seapearl looks like on my wrist. It's, you know, 33 millimeters, pretty small. I've got a 7.5 inch wrist, which is a pretty good size wrist, but it fits nice. And there's the 36 inch. I mean, a millimeter on my 7.5 inch wrist is much better size. I actually think 39 millimeters is probably perfect for my size of wrist. However, I do have some very large watches. So that was a quick look at the history of Enicar watches and a review of a couple of old and new watches. Wouldn't be a review if I didn't give my recommendations, and I can basically say that if you can find a vintage Enicar watch for a price that you feel like you can afford to pay, then you should definitely get it. They're good quality watches and you can't really go wrong. I think I paid, well, I know I paid $1 for the Seapearl, which is pretty cheap in anybody's book, I think. But you know, if you've got one of those, I think you can buy them all day long for less than $100, and the vintage one's in pretty good shape. So it's definitely worth it to do that. The new watch, although they're not really the same quality and the you know, really the same kind of watch that you got with the vintage ones, the new one is definitely a decent watch. It has 38-hour power reserve automatic. It has a 2880
beats per minute movement, and it's a decent watch. It's pretty solid, and I think I paid $250 for that one. I'm not exactly sure, I don't remember, but something like that. Anyway, it's a decent watch, and I think for anything less, if you could find one for less than $200, I think you would be really happy with it at that price. $250, I feel pretty good about it, actually. So that's all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if not, well, that's okay too. Wilbur out.